if we do strike Iran, it will be hopefully won't be the civilians. We don't want boots on the ground right now, obviously. Don't want to start another war there. They will hit we and Israel and maybe Great Britain will probably hit the sites, the ports, so they can't get nuked.
Back with another video. Hope everyone out there is having a good day. Hope everyone had a good weekend, y'all. I had this video coming out yesterday, but when I was up here, my circuit kept tripping because it was windy and 40-mile winds out there. So when it's windy, my circuit's trip when I'm up here. Too much power going on over here, so we're gonna try to get it through today. But I ain't gonna sit here and talk too much, y'all. We got an hour banger coming up for your Monday, y'all. We're gonna start the week off right, so make sure you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
You know the history of why they drive on the left side of the road? How it started, because everyone in the whole world was on the left side since the Romans. So the Romans, they would ride on the left side of the road because the dominant hand was the right hand. And so that would be, you could take your sword out and joust
your neighbor,
get the guy that's riding this way. And then someone came along.
Oh no, who was it?
I want for us to ride on the right side of the road.
Left side? I don't like it.
And his name was Napoleon.
No!
Really?
He was left-handed. He had on out right side of the road because works for me better. And so for even England was right side of the road. And they didn't convert back into the left side of the road until it was 1883 or something.
Oh my
Why do you convert back?
Because they were basically they hated Napoleon so much.
Oh, so it's just trying to cut ties.
Wait, why are we doing this? And so they're like, we're going back to the left hand, or the left hand.
So they're just being stubborn at that point. It's like, I will show you.
What's the biggest healthy food that's actually harmful?
Processed yogurt, no question. Anytime you see a yogurt that says artificial fruit flavors or natural fruit flavors, that's code word for ain't got no fruit. Natural blueberry flavor. Quick way of saying no blueberries are in here. These flavorings are bactericidal. So you're eating the yogurt to get the probiotics, but the flavoring killed all the bacteria. So there's no probiotics in there, first of all. Then you strip the fat out of it, and then you add processed ingredients like high fructose corn syrup, natural flavors, natural colors. So the health benefit you think from getting the probiotic is gone, and you've added all of these processed ingredients to it. Whole fat Greek yogurt is amazing. Take whole fat Greek yogurt, add a fistful of blueberries, and take a teaspoon and a half of monk fruit and mix it up. It will be as good as any processed yogurt. It's like your new Ben & Jerry's, and it's really, really good for you, and you're keeping it in its whole form.
And when we're dealing with a 20 or 30-year problem, I don't think anyone should be surprised to find that there are TDA, MS-13, and other narco gang affiliated individuals working in the judiciary or in police, or even there were reports a few years ago, MS-13 was actually in our armed forces because they intentionally enlist to get in and build that influence. You think Democrats are in on the take?
I'm not so I don't know, have a sense whether they're in on the take, but it does make sense that people in gangs would do what they can to make contacts with people in the judiciary, people in law enforcement.
It's that when you let in, I think at this point, the estimates are upwards of 40 million illegal immigrants. Because I'm not talking about in the past 4 years, I'm talking about of all time. They are going to have family and friends in positions of power, and that is root corruption. And then you're going to have a cop or a judge, and they're going to have friends and they're going to have family members. And so when they come across the illegal immigrant and they're like, hey, I'm from this place, don't arrest me, the guy goes, you got it, buddy. Stay safe out there. This is the destruction of American community. We talked about this with Reagan's amnesty back in, I think it was like the 80s or whatever. You had a bunch of people who came to this country illegally. Reagan gave them an amnesty. And then when they had children, those kids were presented with a proposition to strip public funds from illegal immigrants. They wouldn't be able to receive public benefits. This was the last time, I forgot what year it was, but this is the last time that California voted Republican. Because all of these children of illegal immigrants said, okay, then we vote Democrat because we want public funding for illegal immigrants. And then California's been blue ever since.
Again, I haven't drank for, let me see, 14 months. I'm 14 months sober, so I don't do drugs or alcohol. But what made you quit?
I'd been with my girl Sky for a while, and everything that I've ever had happen in my life, both of my 2 marriages, everything that's ever bad happened to me has had to do with alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and during those marriages, there was a lot of alcohol used at times, which caused major issues, major problems. And so when I get with Sky, and I would pick, you know, I'd kind of like dig and start shit. And all of a sudden, I started losing something I didn't want to lose again. So I said, I'm done drinking.
You guys all remember this guy, right? The reason why I say remember is because his account is now deleted, which he did himself, by the way, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because people started coming with the receipts, like this man right here, who just so happens to be their neighbor. He's just one of 15 of which I found out now, by the way. They supplied me with all their conversations, well, except him. Which this guy deserves to be followed anyway, primarily because of one of his videos that he actually recently caught. You might have seen it when it went viral. He caught one of those oars being chased by a military helicopter, which I've been trying to show everybody for months now. So I'll definitely tag him below so you guys can watch his videos. But aside from that, all of these individuals, including the one who actually owned this Cessna, come to find out, a Cessna did not fly over that man's house, but a man with a Cessna, who once again just so happens to be another neighbor of his, a specific individual who just so happens to own the property of which they were exploring on, offered to fly them in his Cessna around that area, literally up to over 20 acres wide, to show them how many of these backpacks, shoes, whatever they may be, are located around that area. That man in himself is a former Border Patrol agent, so he knows all about exactly what I've been trying to tell you people. Once again, I am not the type of person that would try to discredit somebody, but when it comes to a situation that's as serious as this is, especially involving the struggles that these individuals had to force themselves and their families to go through, I have no other option than to speak up, and everybody's been trying to tell you how much they've been receiving on their lives alone. And once again, I would never try to knock anybody's hustle, but when it comes to a situation like this that you're obviously familiar with and you're trying to downplay, I have no other option than to tell everybody exactly how it is, because it's a harsh reality for those individuals that's been around for well over a decade now. These creators even got in contact with the individuals of which they claimed to send those samples of those bones into, okay? And guess what? They were never contacted to begin with. And I'm not even gonna start on the record that I found because honestly, it's none of my business, but still, there's a reason of why the account was deleted. I mean, when you brag about being a good actor and a good video editor, I mean, you know? And many of you have asked me why I've been basing my content around this for the past couple of days. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, okay? I know individuals that have gone through those journeys themselves, okay? It's a situation that hits very close to home. I've had friends that have been taken away. I've had my sister's husband be taken away when renewing his legal status here in the United States. I will always be passionate about shit like that. And if that makes you want to unfollow me, then I mean, go ahead, please do. It doesn't bother me one bit, but what happened with this situation definitely does.
There it go. Okay, damn. So when I come to the weather app, nigga, not only they got the temperature for the next 10 days. Not only do they have the temperature, nigga, they got what the temperature is going to be every hour on the hour. Look. They can tell you what the temperature gonna be every hour on the hour, nigga. At 5 p.m., it's gonna be still 70 degrees, but it's a little cloudy with a little sunshine. How the fuck you know that? Who told you that though? And you know what's the craziest thing? We believed in religion, but a motherfucker never questioned that though. How the fuck does the meteorologist know what the fuck the weather gonna be in 10 days? So you telling me now you God, son? Because look, if we keep the ideology that religion taught us that Jesus is God's son and God is up in heaven and devil in hell, okay. Well, goddamn it, God, what the fuck is going on down here, God? Hey, God. Hey, Jesus. You don't fuck with us like that down here, son? I'm just saying, though. Because the last time I checked, nigga, the only motherfucker you let know when some shit gonna happen down this bitch is the motherfucking weatherman, nigga. How the fuck how did he get a chance to talk to you to know what the weather gonna be? And nigga, we gotta pray, and we still ain't talked to you. Nigga, we been donating to the collection plate for generations, and niggas ain't had one sentence from you yet, nigga.
Will Smith has done something I have never seen any other famous person do, and he just started doing it on his recent interviews. He talks about reaching the end of fame and money, something many people are chasing, Will Smith has it and says it's not what you think it is. Watch this clip.
I'm past awards in my mindset. You know, there's a thing. I think that everybody. I wish that everybody could have everything they dream. Right. To realize that that's not it. Right. You know, I've said before, like people talk about rock bottom. That when you hit rock bottom is when you'll make a change. Yeah, like people say rock bottom in life. Yeah, rock bottom in life. Right. Yeah, but yeah, it is like people say it in you know in AA talking about rock bottom. Mm-hmm. But there's a corresponding place that I call cliff top. Right? Like you could be too high. Where you get so high that you realize literally none of this stuff can make you happy. Right. After you can get to the end of the material world. You get to the end of money. You get to the end of, you know, you get to the end of fame. You have so much and then you like go off of a cliff into the same kind of abyss that you'd be scared of slipping into at rock bottom. Right. Where life loses all of its ability to sustain and please you. Right. And then the only thing that's left, the same thing at rock bottom, the only thing that's left at cliff top is you have to find what you're actually looking for, and what you're actually looking for is you. You're looking for you. You're running around. Right? When you like a woman and you like being with a woman, it's because you like how you feel. Right. You like what's happening inside of you. When you have money, it's like, yeah, it's cool to buy things, but it's not the money. You like how you feel inside. Right. It's unleashing a feeling inside. And at rock bottom and at cliff top, what you have to learn how to do is generate that feeling without anything external.
I saw a clip of you talking.
Now, I think I put it on the video. I don't remember if I did, but there is a Joe Rogan clip where he was talking about, you know, when he was broke or whatever, living out of his car or whatever, he got a show. Next thing, he had a nice apartment in Hollywood, right? He had a pool table in there. He was like, this is it. This is living. But then he's like, a couple months go by, and you just realize it's home, right? It's home. It's the same feeling I have now was the same feeling I had when I was living out of my car. Like, it's just home. After all the adrenaline and all the good feelings, like the feelings go away, you realize it's just home. Like Dave Ramsey even said something like, how you are right now is how you'll be if you get money. You're just going to be 10 times that. If you're a giver right now, you're going to be a 10 times giver when you get money. If you're, you know, angry and bitter towards people, when you get that money, you're going to be that same way with money, but 10 times worse, right? So point of all this is work on yourself, y'all. Work on yourself. Try to become the best version. I know I am. I had somebody yesterday in a comment tell me, you know, quit acting like you're active. All you do is sit at home and play games and eat fast food. First of all, I don't play video games, right? I'm pretty active. I'm not as active as I would want to be, as I used to be, right? You're talking to somebody that used to weigh 278 pounds and dropped down to 195, right? I've been back up to 250, dropped down to 205, right? I struggle with the weight. I know how to lose it. I know what it takes. But like right now, I'm struggling with it. You know what I mean? But I know the secret. I know how to get there. So I am pretty active for how much I weigh, right? I'll get out there and bang out 3 miles on a mountain. You know what I mean? I get my 10,000 steps, right? But yeah. So that's the key to everything. Work on yourself and try to become the best version, y'all. Try to build healthy habits. Lord knows I am. I struggle with it, but I am trying.
Out underground tunnels in Vegas. Sure. Was that is like where?
Yeah, I go all the time.
Like,
it's an entire city of homeless people that live under the city of Las Vegas. So every week when I go to Vegas, I go in the tunnels and I give food and water. Yeah.
Where do you even enter that?
So the best entrance is on Dean Martin. I have the exact address, and I encourage everyone to go and give back to those in need if you can.
That's where they put the homeless.
Basically.
Because everyone's like sex trafficking tunnels.
Nah, bro. It's just homeless people. That's where they made camp, like their shelter in there. It's like they made an entire community under it. Yeah.
What does it look like? Is it just like?
So they're water drain tunnels, and there's 6 tunnels. One they use for the homeless use for their own sewage, and the other 5 So you can walk in. There's always people loitering out front as well. Because I'm coming with food, I go, hey, is there anybody in this tunnel? Like, I'm just here to give food. Like, yeah, go ahead. Because they have weapons everywhere. Like, they're ready for whatever. And a lot of them are on drugs.
Shocking.
Yes, I mean,
Don't surprise you. Yeah, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, they have their own city. They have their own arts district in there. It's like Tunnel 3 or something is the art district, and you get like half a mile in.
Give me an example of something that you definitely 100% believe.
I remember seeing there was a rock on the ground. Probably about an hour or more into the investigation, I literally see the rock lift off the ground and just go flying down the hallway completely by itself.
No.
Yeah.
How big was it?
It was like probably like that big, like just like a little rock. Like,
did everyone else see it?
Like we saw it happen, and it actually hit Zach. He was down at the other end of the hallway, and it actually hit him. And he reacted like, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "I just saw this rock go flying."
It's on camera.
Yeah, and right away we rewound the footage and played it back, and you see it. You see this rock just sitting there the whole time,
and it just lifts
and then
up.
it just lifts up, goes flying down the hallway, and hits him.
So that makes you believe.
Yeah, that makes me believe.
In terms of Scientology, why does it seem like so many people are successful?
Maybe the technology there works.
What technology?
Anything you want, like communication skills. It teaches you how to communicate, teaches you how to raise children, teaches you how to have a marriage. It teaches you how to have conditions in life and go from average and normal to like, okay, I want to create power in my life or affluence. There's courses there about how to pick people. This is not a religion where you pray to a God.
Right.
This particular religion teaches somebody practically how to make their life better through knowing how life responds to the decisions that you make.
Why you say he ain't gay? Because you ain't gay those you ain't getting hit. Rich homie Quan, he did, and Thug killed him. A lot of people don't know. Yeah, he did, rest in peace. But he wasn't gay? He wasn't gay, that's why he left. He left because he didn't want to be gay. And they kind of killed him because of that. He won't go up there. Let me tell you what happened, right? This will be happening, right? They get you in the room, and they get you drunk. And they get you real high. And they call Don Juan. That's why I never told that story. And they bring you over a 403. And you think it's a 304. And then when you're drunk and shit, they knock you out and all that stuff. And then you get up, they show you the video. Like, look what you did last night. They're like, oh, the fuck? That was a 403. I thought I ordered a 304. How the fuck they give me a 403? I ordered a 304. But
and that's how they control
you? Yeah, they control you. Because now you're scaring everybody know you had a 403.
That is so... Oh my God.
Yeah. Talk Nelly about that. Yeah, Ashanti at 403. Ashanti at 403. 403.
I mean, real talk. If you didn't know Epstein was a creep and he invites you, he's just a cool billionaire that you met at a party, and you're not getting any weird vibes. He asks you, he's like, hey, I got this jet. You want to come to my island? You got nothing going on that week. You'd go to the island, right? Yeah. Me too. When people are like, check the logs, I'm like, not everybody, because even creeps got to take a day off. Like, even you're not fucking the kids every day. Yeah, like, if you're that's a pervert, yeah, that's probably a seasonal or like yeah, it's a special event for right. them. Or it's like just when your dudes are there to party. It's like, but otherwise you have to also have like regular people come. Because here's the thing, you have to keep up the ruse that it's a regular place where people go to have fun.
That's what I think.
So that the guys who do go in perv or the females that do go in perv out there, because it could have been men and women that doing it. And I'm not talking about the young people.
We don't know.
But the adults, they need to be able to trick their spouses into believing that they go there.
And they're like,
for
you've
fun.
been there the one time.
Right.
You know it's a chill place. There's coconuts.
There's
coconuts and
there's
trees.
That ukulele.
There's like that guy doing the ukulele. There's the fire dancers that come out and perform.
Yeah,
It's just
there's
a
like
regular...
there's like a lot of young kids whose parents aren't there starting a band or whatever.
Yeah, they're just starting a band.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just,
This is getting dark.
There's a character. Yeah, there's like a guy just doing funny.
Artist.
Yeah, he's just doing little artwork where you're like, makes your nose too big, something that kind of offends you, but you're like, it's funny, right? And everyone's like, it's really funny. And you're like, okay.
What's the year in your country?
I didn't know this.
USA. 2025.
I didn't know other countries have different years.
Ethiopia. 2017. Nepal. 2082. Japan. 7.
What?
North Korea.
You see, what year is it in Japan?
114. Israel. 5785. India. 1947. Thailand. 2558. Bangladesh 1432.
You guys.
Now, I asked Google, what year is it in Japan? Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. What year is it in Japanese calendar? Right? They don't follow our calendar, they follow their calendar. Year 7. That's, I didn't know that. I didn't know we all follow different calendars.
9/11 was an inside job? I'm not sure. Oh, come on. You think, of course, you think Building 7 went down, all that's coming out. You think Building 7 could go down 7 hours after the towers in its own footprint? In 4 seconds? I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yo, did anybody else know that in 2021 the UN voted to make food a basic human right and only 2 countries voted against it? America and Israel, of course, the biggest haters of humanity on earth.
Do you know the guy who invented the Turing test? You know what the Turing test is? No. His name's Alan Turing, and he was a scientist. And he invented a test that they say AI has passed, and this test is where you can talk to a computer and not be able to tell that it's a computer, that it behaves like a human. It thinks like a human, it communicates like a human, where it's indiscernible. That's the Turing test. AI has recently passed the Turing test. Well, this guy, he was in England when this happened, right, Jamie? Where they forced him to take medication. He got arrested for being gay in like the 1950s. And they forced him to take medication that made him sterile, made him impotent. So he couldn't have sex. Like they forced him to take like hormone blockers that they give to sex offenders. You know, chemical castration when they do that to sex offenders. And then he killed himself. The guy who invented the method of determining whether or not AI has become sentient gets murdered by dumb apes who don't like that he's gay. How crazy is that? I'm not fucking that story up, right?
Did y'all know that these major insurance companies have been funding radar and LiDAR equipment to police departments to catch drivers speeding? This whole time, we thought it has been about safety, but it's actually been about profit. Y'all know that they are investing in the same system that is designed to penalize us, right? And they are profiting from it. So this company that makes laser guns was on the verge of going broke, and their products were selling $3,500 a piece at the time. Now, police departments can only afford just a few of them. So guess what happened? Look, the lizard people stepped in. Literally, the Geico lizard, remember that? Yeah, y'all know who they're talking about. You guys know who I'm talking about. And in a brilliant merger of public relations and greed, Geico bailed out the LTI company. The insurance company bought LTI's newfangled laser guns. In ceremonies held in each state nationwide, Geico donated a few lasers to the state police or large local agencies. That's crazy, y'all. Did you guys ever hear about anything like this? Look, it says the PR stunt also put free samples of LTI's laser guns into the hands of the agencies who would have never bought them in the first place. Once the cops gained operational experience with the new gadget, once the revenue started rolling in, laser guns became all the rage. The lizards, Geico, also banked big bucks with the initiative. The laser-wielding lizard and laser. Look, they go hand in hand. Lizard, laser. You can't make this stuff up. And you think this technology was not faulty, and you would be wrong. As it states over here, laser is fallible. The guns only work on front plates, on states where front plates are not legally required. Many motorists don't have them. So these police officers are using faulty technology on us, and it was funded and provided by our insurance companies that are supposed to protect us and our insurance premiums. Wow. So if I was with one of these companies, I would rethink about who I would, insure with, y'all, because that's crazy. Let me know what you guys think about this video, y'all. The shift is here. Everything is, going downhill. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
So a lot of y'all know I just moved to downtown LA. And man, hey, living down here is crazy. Every night, it's like a war zone. Helicopters, explosions. I'm like, where are people? Why am I hearing explosions? It's 2 in the morning. People just yelling, top of their lungs. Ah! 3 in the morning. Tires screeching, Fast and Furious, drag race outside, 1 in the morning. And then to top it off, you come outside your building and you go onto the sidewalk and you look down, a whole lot of dog shit.
What this is? Wait, y'all gonna have to give me some understanding. So let me get this right. The Department of Justice just launched an anti-Christian task force, and correct me if I'm wrong. So basically what this is if you believe in something other than Christianity, it's gonna be an issue. And that's a question. You're basically telling me that if you don't believe in Christianity, they're gonna send people to your door, knock on your door. Hey, we heard. You heard what? We heard you don't believe in Christianity. Now, I believe in Christianity, but there are other people who have their own beliefs. So you're telling me right here in the United States of America, you are entitled to believe what everyone believes? And if you don't believe what everyone believes, they're gonna have people knocking at your door. We heard you don't believe what we believe. That don't sound right. Anybody, matter of fact, everybody with any type of information, let me know what you know about this. I just turned on this app, haven't been on the app all day. I need to know, because I'm hearing this and this don't sound good. United States of America is not a third world country. Nah. Let me know what you know.
Hey, is this Shadur? Hey, this is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
This ain't gonna be nothing there.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
Like, that's cold-blooded, y'all. And you know who that ended up being? I believe it ended up being an Atlanta Falcons general manager's son. Somebody in the upper levels of the Atlanta Falcons' son. So that's how he got the number. Because remember when he answered, he's like, "Who? Nobody has this number, right? All the executives have his number because if they're going to draft him, they're going to call it. NFL probably hands those phones out. That's cold-blooded, y'all. That's cold-blooded.
You know the comb thing
Yeah.
with cats? How like you go to the cat?
Oh, I didn't. No, I
it
didn't.
like throws up.
Really?
Yeah. If you take a comb,
Yeah.
like all cat owners try this shit. Like if you take a comb and go,
yeah,
you'll see cats immediately. They wanna.
Really?
They wanna like throw up. They get nauseous because of it.
Damn.
And there's certain frequencies. Like there's a sound. I think it's an ancient Egyptian sound. They play for cats as well.
Yeah.
The moment you play it for the cat, these cats start standing on their hind legs, and then it says. What happens is the cats are reminded because of the sound that they were praised in Egyptian time.
Oh yeah. It was like a troll.
Yeah.
Like, remember you told me that?
But who knows? Because if you think about it, like there's a lot of spiritual things with cats already. And you know that theory how like if cats like you, that means like
you're actually blessed.
Yeah. It means they take away your your negative energy. That's what they're trying to do. And that's why witches always have cats with them.
Yeah.
So cats already have some like spiritual significance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why it's interesting that ancient Egyptians, the most almost spiritually based civilization that we study, is kind of based on. They have a fucking giant cat in the desert, right?
The number one rule seemed to have been no digging. What prompted that?
We were told that digging on the property resulted in negative outcomes, that people would be harmed, that anytime the earth was disturbed, bad things happened. I felt it was wise to be cautious. I gave Dragon specific direction to limit any digging activity, anything that would disturb the earth that may stimulate negative response that would result in injury or harm. It really was a fear. It still is. We still have incidents that have occurred.
The Argentinian president, you know, the one that gave Elon Musk that big old red chainsaw for Doge, just released documents that Schmittler, you know, little mustache man, actually did not die in World War II. and lived in Argentina until the 60s and has children. How do you like that for conspiracy theory? That happens to be true, according to Argentine president and the documents he just released.
Was Jack Dawson a time traveler who was on board the Titanic to make sure it hit an iceberg and sank? What? What the fuck? So everything pretty much starts in the infamous scene where Rose is about to take a leap of faith off the Titanic, but is stopped by none other than Jack Dawson.
You don't want to do this.
Now, Jack Dawson didn't stop Rose from jumping off the Titanic out of the goodness of his heart. He did it because he knew if somebody goes overboard, the Titanic would immediately stop in its tracks and try to locate the missing passenger. And if this would have happened, it would have drastically altered the Titanic's schedule and pretty much ensured that it wouldn't strike the iceberg and sink. You see, Jack Dawson stopped Rose from jumping and spent so much time with her for one reason, and that's because somebody from Rose's bloodline would become extremely important in the future. And when we stop and take a look at Jack Dawson, this dude is an anomaly within itself. Remember, technically he was never supposed to be on board the Titanic in the first place.
Because we're going to America. Full house, boys. No, I'm going on.
He won his ticket on board the Titanic gambling and was therefore not part of the ship's official manifest. So if you really think about it, it's like Jack Dawson was never on board the Titanic at all.
We never found anything on Jack. There's no record of him at all.
No, there wouldn't be, would there?
Then during one extremely memorable scene, Jack just so happens to bring up a particular body of water.
I remember when I was a kid, me and my father, we went ice fishing out on Lake Wissota.
So here's the thing about Lake Wissota. It's actually a man-made lake that wasn't created until 1917, 5 years after the Titanic sunk. And then there's a scene where Jack brings up a particular roller coaster.
Then I went down to Los Angeles to the pier in Santa Monica and started doing portraits there for 10 cents a piece. We'll ride on the roller coaster till we throw up.
And once again, Jack is talking about something that didn't exist at the time. That roller coaster wasn't built until 1916, 4 years after the events of the Titanic. Jack's hair is even something that points to him being a time traveler, because that style of haircut wouldn't become popular until years later. Then, of course, there's Jack's rucksack. That particular rucksack is something that wouldn't become popular until the 1930s or 40s, decades after the Titanic sunk. And here's where it's really interesting. James Cameron has another movie about time travel, The Terminator. And the reason why Jack Dawson was so hyper-focused on Rose's survival is because she's Sarah Connor's grandmother. And yes, I know when Rose gets married, her last name isn't Connor, it's actually Calvert. However, it's extremely possible that Rose gave birth to Sarah Connor's mother, who would eventually marry into the Connor family and inevitably give birth to Sarah, who then gives birth to the person who will one day grow up and become humanity's last hope against Skynet.
September 2001, 9/11 happens. In 2003, we invade Iraq. All of 2002 was building the propaganda campaign to invade Iraq. The entire year. If you remember, if you're old enough to remember what that year was like, every single week, the New York Times and CNN and Fox News and every powerful person was making sure that everyone knew that obviously Saddam Hussein has nuclear weapons, and he was clearly in on 9/11, and he's going to give one of these nukes off to and then the next 9/11 is going to be a nuclear bomb dropping on America. And at the time, we had nothing like what we have right now. And I go, if they tried to do that again now we got Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and literally the biggest shows in the world would all just be shredding that propaganda, just destroying it if they tried to do it now.
How many people know what Poppy, the soda, is? You might have saw this week that they just sold for $1.5 billion to Pepsi. The fact that they built that entire brand on social for very little money in the scheme of things was not possible 30 years ago. You had to buy very expensive commercials. You had to spend a lot of money to even get into Walmart. The world's changing, and a lot of us in here are very comfortable in thinking it's not going to affect us. This is one of the biggest opportunities in the history of business opportunity for small businesses and individuals.
Why?
Like, I can't tell you how many things like I would see on Instagram, TikTok, and then see it in the stores. I was like, damn, I used to like the stale cracker dude that, put that on a cracker dude, that cooks the Cajun food. I remember I was at Walmart one day and he's got his seasoning inside Walmart. Like I used to watch this dude on YouTube Shorts, right? There's so much opportunity out there with social media, y'all. Like the sunflower seeds I was telling you about that one day. They sell them at the grocery store. I get them all the time now because they're the freaking best sunflower seeds and they're not full of sodium. But that's what I was saying a while back, a couple days ago, that I need to start putting, these videos you're watching across all platforms and making shorts out of them and putting them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and just make 10 clips from each video. And, sky's the limit, y'all. Get on social media with any of your ideas you have. If you make freaking flies for fishing, fly fishing, right? You make flies or whatever, put it on TikTok. Business might blow up.
The U.S. quite possibly go to war in the Gaza Strip.
Because Big Daddy said so. And the U.S. is not Big Daddy.
Elaborate.
I don't know. I'll let some viewers think about that one, but why are we going to go fight somebody else's problem? How can somebody else say to us that has nothing to do with this, we need you to come over here and help clean house on our behalf? Why? There's trouble all over the world, but why for them? Why? Why do we have to jump what we're doing, stop what we're doing? I'm not going to mess with Ukraine and we're not going to support that. We're going to stay out of Ukraine. We're going to stay out of this, but we're going to hop into this because they said so. I don't know. This is weird. Really, really, really weird. Why are we doing that? Who's in control? Who runs what? I don't know. I don't think that who we've been told runs the show is not the one who runs it. But all you got to just see is when somebody says jump and we start jumping and we're asking how high, it's the person we're asking that to. That's the one that's in charge. We're not jumping on our own behalf. We're doing it because somebody else has a problem.
Many of you have probably heard about underground tunnels, things like domes. And the question is, have you heard about UV lights? Does anyone know what I mean when I say UV lights? There are locations in the United States with UV lights. Right, until a few hours ago, I didn't know either, till I received information from someone I'd been corresponding with on another platform. I'm just going to read you the messages. I'll put up some images. I won't be able to tell you all of it because some of it is so far out there. I'll see how you handle this lot. First of all, he had seen my video on the weird blob in Minnesota and he sends me a map. And he says the pin is Wendigo sightings. Never heard of these until like minutes ago, and I look up. These are artist renderings. Folklore, creature, Skinwalker Ranch type stuff, right? And he says the black lines are tunnels to the military underground domes. The red line is a submarine line. And he tells me a little bit more about his job. So I go, how are the submarines? I don't get it. And he goes, submarines have access throughout the entire interior of the US. And I go, how deep are the tunnels? Because I follow earthquakes, and I have noticed a lot of earthquakes at 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers. And he goes, I have extensive maps of the world with military domes, tunnels, and inner earth access points and power reactors. Everything is at 10K. And I ask, how can they build these? Surely it's cooking hot down there, which it is. I mean, it's crazy hot down there. These are huge, as big as a large city, and operated with nuclear power. Give me a location if you're interested, and I'll send it. So I'm in LA. I'm like, hey, Los Angeles. So he sends me this. Hide. I've got it all on my phone messages. And he says the blue pins are underground domes, and the purple are UV lights. UV lights. Naturally, I ask, what are UV lights? You may want to sit down for this part. There is UV spectrum that allows cloaked figures to be seen. If UV lights are present, that means these areas are active with genetically modified experiments that have escaped and are hiding from the underground facilities where they were created. There is way more, but I'm going to just say I immediately went, assuming this was nonsense, and I start researching UV lights. how could these be used with genetic modification? It turns out UV lights are used with genetic modification.
Wouldn't you know, it turns out we've been making things fluorescent since 1986. But I'm sure it would never be used on humans.
They have these fluorescent proteins that fluoresce under black light. Yeah, you're probably where my head is. He says, way more. Let me see how you handle this, and I'm game to share more. I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
Now, there is UV. Like, I know my sister, she does like CAT scans and stuff like that. And there's a certain scan. I don't know if it's for a CAT scan or for X-ray, but there's a liquid they give you and it UV lights your insides, right? So when they take the picture, it's like UV in you. I forgot what it was. This was a long time ago, y'all, too. When I was in high school, I used to work. I was a scheduler at her work. So they were doing this back then. Like, you would drink that fluid and it would make your insides like fluorescent on the picture. So, yeah.
Right, it was insane. I didn't realize how bad it was until after October 7th. They're all just saying whatever Israel tells them. Alex Jones even won't criticize him. See, old videos he was, but now it's like something, obviously, I don't know what it is, but something's changed.
I was doing streams about hip-hop, pushing all this stuff 7 years ago, and people were calling me anti-Semitic, and I'm just stating facts. I'm like, this is owned by this guy. This is owned by this guy. This is what they're pushing.
But if you say that, you're an anti-Semite.
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad owned the company that did all the textbooks for the schools that taught us all this.
Mm-hmm. And he was Mossad. Yeah, wild. One of the biggest media companies and made the textbooks for American students.
You could be like, did you steal $1 billion? They're like, I'm feeling an atmosphere of hate. And you're like, okay.
The Holocaust. It's like, just shut up.
Does anyone else find it interesting that so much has been removed from our history books? Like, if you go and actually get the physical textbook from before 1910, if you go and get a history book before 1910, it actually says that there was an advanced civilization here in the United States before the Native Americans. That there was evidence that they found it when they came over here, that they met the Native Americans, and then they found all these ruins from, quote unquote, in the book, an advanced civilization that was here in the past, but was no longer here. Yet my entire life growing up, I was never taught that. None of us were ever taught that. In fact, we're taught the opposite, and we're told not to ask about that. Why did they take it out of the books? I can't be the only one that's curious about this stuff. I mean, everything's being put, in computers and databases. The problem with that is that they're removing anything they want first. So our only proof is in these physical textbooks, and how long are we going to have those? I don't know about you, but I'm going to start buying old books. Okay, love you, bye.
People are going crazy because of what every fast food chain in the world is doing. The art of shrinkification is real. You might have noticed you got a far smaller Easter egg this year. Everything is shrinking, from Nando's to McDonald's to Chipotle. The average meal size was supposedly 4 times larger than it was back in the 1950s, although it looks like we're going back to this. Recently, there's been a lot of people talking about Chipotle, which you might have seen these videos popping up. People noticing the food portion size is getting far smaller, and they've actually come out saying they're going to be getting smaller again. But people are freaking out finding out that it's not just Chipotle, pretty much every fast food joint is doing the same thing. Now, to put it in a clear way, shrinkification is where these corporate companies are making their meals a lot smaller. Wouldn't be an issue if they were dropping all the prices, but they're not, and sometimes they're even rising the prices.
Yeah.
Even Nando's, many people recently have been saying they've gone to Nando's and got a far smaller order, and you can see it from the packaging sizes here. That was a while ago, that's now. Let me know if you've noticed it with Nando's or which fast food restaurant you have noticed it with. Because at the moment it looks like the only safe one is Five Guys, where they're still loading up your bag like there's no tomorrow.
Like they really are. I remember just recently I bought, a pack of Slim Jims, right? I know they're terrible, but when I'm trying to eat clean, I don't go buy the expensive, no sugar added beef jerky, right? I just look at carbs, fat, protein, that's it, right? But anyways, I haven't got those in a very long time. So when I bought them this time, I was telling Mama Bear, like, these are a lot like thinner than they used to be. They're like toothpicks now. It was crazy when I ate it. I was like, what the heck? These used to be a lot thicker. And sure enough, they're more expensive.
Convince me that Shannon Sharp is not going through a humiliation.
Yeah, he's going through something.
To me, he just looks like a good actor because this girl's 19. Shannon Sharp is how old as he is. It just doesn't fit the bill. This particular arrangement and the text messages and everything, it just sounds like a setup. Something premeditated.
Well, no shit, she set him up.
Because Shannon was receiving this $100 million. Now, you can't receive this kind of money without working with the devil, without working with an occult in the shadows.
Which is true, but how much is she making, right? Because these OnlyFans girls, the top ones, are making $1 million a day. Shannon Sharp's getting $100 million for what, 3-4 years? This girl's making $1 million a day. In 100 days, she makes $100 million, right? In 300 days, she makes $300 million. She makes $365 million a year. He's making $100 million every 5 years, right? So did this girl? You're in the club now. You got to go after this guy. You got to go after Shannon Sharp for us. Play along for a little bit. Record this call. You know what I mean? It's a cold game out there, y'all. But to get to that level of like $1 million a month, you're in on it too.
And I think this is another humiliation ritual along with Shador Sanders. For them to receive the riches in the world, they have to humiliate themselves for the clan.
If we do strike Iran, it will be, hopefully won't be the civilians. We don't want boots on the ground right now, obviously. Don't want to start another war there. They will hit we and Israel and maybe Great Britain will probably hit the sites, the ports, so they can't get nukes, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. We don't want that war. And I've said before in previous episodes that if one nuclear weapon gets launched, man, that's probably going to be a nuclear holocaust and the end of life as we know it. So I just said I'm going to stay positive. That's not it.
So somebody was acting like they had Shaq sex tapes back in the day. By the way, this also connects to Whack 100, right? There was supposed to be some extortion shit, Shaq murder for hire. The nigga testified, Shaq told me to kill people. Brother, I'm not making this shit up. Because even when I was talking to Gilly, Gilly was like, yo, Ak, I'm going to be honest with you. Shaq tapped in with the streets. I'm like, bro, we're talking about Superman, the nigga who, like, fucking is the big goofball at the NBA All-Star games, like, dribbling like crazy, and we laugh at him and we love him. And they're like, no, he's tapped in. And I'm like, what? Shaq think he a street nigga. I'm going to say, Shaq, I'm going to keep it cute with you from here on. If you want me to go do a whole deep dive on your history, nigga, you don't want to end up like Shannon Sharp. I'm going to just say that right now. As much money as you think you got, I got a lot of motherfucking time. And I'm only saying that because Shaq is playing bully in the background. He's the, whatever you're hearing this nigga said, me and Tussie on the phone was like, yo, why this nigga hit my baby moms? Shaq, I don't know what the fuck going on with him. Just leave me alone, my nigga. I hear you getting niggas clapped. Just leave me alone, bro. Like, I'll actually try to apologize to you because I don't want to be beefing with you. I like you. Like, nigga, when I play 2K, like, you're one of the characters I play. So let's not beef. If you hit up another one, like another chick or doing some weird shit with me, I might have to just spend a week breaking down all the allegations that you try to get people killed.
This is according to these whistleblowers that work for the government, and now we're talking about, I just don't know what's real. It's hard to know. And you talk about it, you feel like a
Who gives a
moron.
fuck, Joe Rogan?
There's got to be something out there.
Mhm.
Okay, we got to assume there's something out there. Whether or not, I don't even know.
Right, but should we assume that something's been here?
Yeah.
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 I think so.
Yeah, they've been here.
Well, I would come here. If I was from somewhere else and I was like, what, imagine if you're like from some super advanced civilization that's completely abandoned war.
Have we reached the end of the democratic
I
period?
don't know. Somebody showed me a 600-meter railway that was built in California. Cost like, $15 billion, something like that, to build a 600-meter piece of railway. Cannot go on. Somebody's morbidly fat. Somebody will come and say, okay, you have to stop. Your heart can't take it anymore. Or somebody that drinks, or the lungs for a smoker, whatever. You have to stop that fast. Now, it's $15 billion to make a 600-meter piece of railway that's not even working. In 10 years. Empire State was built in a year. 1 year. They built Empire State. What happened with the World Trade Center? How long did it take? Forever. It's not a problem of budget, or investor, or engineers. You could have built the tallest building in the world and said, okay, we're coming back bigger and stronger. But you didn't. It took over a decade to build a very unimpressive building. And that was 23 years ago. Now you're building 600-meter railways for $15 billion. How long it will take to rebuild the Baltimore Bridge?
You ever seen the cartoon Family Guy? You ever heard that our world is a simulation? Then I'm sure you've heard that they put the truth right in front of our face in cartoons and in movies. Well, why is that? Is that to condition the mind? To control the mind? Watch this video until the end. Comment your thoughts below. Do you feel like you're being manipulated? I do. Share this video with someone you love, can, respect.
They're always going to put the truth in your face. Watch this.
When shuttles blow up, it's not always an accident.
What do you mean, not an accident? Who is this guy singing?
And who am I? A conspiracy fly. Did you know NASA means deceived in Hebrew?
I did not.
The Denver airport was built by the Illuminati.
Now remember what the fly said. NASA means to deceive in Hebrew. Which is correct. Hebrew is the language that the Bible was written in. So in the Garden of Eden, when Satan deceived Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, God said unto Eve, "What is this that thou hast done?" And the woman said, "The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat." Look at that word right there, beguiled. All right, so if we go into the biblical usage of this term beguiled, it means to deceive. And if you go back to the Hebrew text in the original Hebrew Bible, it's NASA. So NASA means to deceive. Remember, it was the serpent that beguiled Eve, or deceived Eve. It's not a coincidence that NASA's logo is literally a snake or a serpent tongue. Look at that. You see that red tongue going through it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, and what's the definition of a serpent? A sly or treacherous person? Oh, someone who exploits a position of trust in order to betray it. I wonder who that is. Someone who exploits a position of trust in order to betray that trust. Satan, the serpent, is using NASA to deceive everyone, to believe in evolution rather than the creation account in Genesis 1. All throughout the Bible, it explains a flat, stationary plane with the sun, moon, and stars inside of a glass dome firmament. The Bible says in Romans 3 verse 4, "Let God be true, but every man a liar." When they put truth in our face like that, they're fulfilling the prophecy of Luke 12 verse 3. "Therefore whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and which ye have spoken in the ear in the closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops." So whatever they speak about in secret, they must proclaim it upon the housetops. They have their ways. All right, we got to make sure we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, all right, or else he'll get an advantage.
Remember during COVID, like they were giving people rewards for turning people in for having parties in LA, and the mayor was saying normally snitches get stitches, but now they get rewards. Do you remember that?
You know the old expression about snitches? Well, in this case, snitches get rewards. We want to thank you for turning folks in and making sure we are all safe.
You should go to jail for saying that. You monster.
Man, it must have taken the cameraman and the actors and the crew, just a whole crew in general, so much time to get this shot right, to have like this feather falling from the sky.
Oh yeah.
To have, just kind of like tracking it, and like just even tracking it, like I'm saying the cameraman is just like tracking this feather. It's unpredictable, like it's going through the wind, but then for it to land on like this guy kind of, and then like perfectly kind of get swept away by the like when he goes off, and then like goes and like somehow lands on Tom Hanks's foot.
I
Fucking incredible stuff.
I heard it was like 502 takes. Before they got.
It's
they
like
kept, they kept like blowing it, and they had all these fans, and they were blowing.
It's got the record for the most takes.
Most takes for a feather scene.
Yeah.
Oh,
for feather scene. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, man.
I mean, this is filmmaking right here.
Yeah.
You know, just hoping for the best. This is the biggest lettuce moment we've ever seen.
This is cinema.
Yeah.
Imagine sitting next to this guy in real life.
No.
All right, check it out, yo. I figured it the fuck out. Airplanes really do not need fuel at all. They do not need fuel at all. Not even to take off. They do not need fuel at all. All airports are built on landlines. They fucking harness that energy for takeoff. They don't need fucking fuel to take off. They don't use fuel, period. They use the fucking energy to take off, and once they're in the air, ether.
Nothing made sense after 9/11. We were told that Saudis were on the plane, and we didn't go to war with Saudi Arabia.
Right.
We then went to war with Iraq
Threat
because we
level
were
was
told
orange and then red.
Yeah,
and
the
then
weapons of mass destruction.
yellow.
They never found the weapons of mass destruction. Then we went into Afghanistan. Nothing made sense. And so what this actually was we were going to go to war no matter what. They needed to justify. They needed the public to get on their side about it. And that's how I feel about what's happening right now. Is that war with Iran has already been decided upon, and they're just
Where
playing
is Trump
a game.
in this? Where is the Trump administration?
I mean, my understanding is that Trump would like a diplomatic resolution, but the neocons want war. And unfortunately, there's a lot of neocons in Trump's cabinet. And I think that's when you're speaking about that push-pull and what's going on with Pete Hegseth. And what's happening is that there are people who are genuinely, I mean, from what we heard, Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth, and there was one other person who stopped, us from attacking Iran or whatever it was. They are the reason that we're not at war with Iran today. But everyone else wants to go to war because it's already been decided upon. And so you have to kind of wake up the American people. When I say American, I'm talking Jewish American, just American, guys.
Right.
Like, stop seeing yourself as black, white, Jewish.
Right.
Like, we need to recognize what's happening here because very few people benefit from this perpetual state of war. Whether we're talking about Ukraine, Israel, very few people at the tippity top are actually benefiting from the war machine.
That's the side.
Do you guys think all that black, white, Jewish, Hispanic, Mexican, China, whatever, all those I'm not American things, do you think those go out the window if a nuke drops? Not even on America. Like, if we drop a nuke, do you think all that goes away? It gets real. We're coming together? Or do you think we're going to be even more divided? All the Democratic people that are on the left are going to just hate it, the Republican people on the right, and it's going to start our own little civil war in here? Or do you think if that was to happen, and now our threat, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're telling us sleep in the basement, right? Sleep in the bathtub. Like, if those messages start coming out here on the homeland, do you think we come together? What do you guys think would happen with that? I mean, it seems like we're very close to it. We were very close to it towards the end with Biden, and now we're pretty damn close to it with Trump, right? Just saying, was real. How do you think we would react if shit hit the fan, we dropped a nuke over there, and they're retaliating? They sent one, and we shot it down, but they're coming. How do you think we would react? Come together like those times after 9/11? Or do you think we'll be even more divided? I don't know, y'all. I think if stuff hit the fan like that, I think we might come together. I think so.
Choose to err on when it comes to the tariff stuff. It's like, if it doesn't work, what the fuck? What do we lose? I believe that we are at a severe crossing point right now, where if another generation without like a sense of purpose, it's not going to matter.
Well, the stakes are big,
right?
I mean, $37 trillion in national that's the national debt. You don't need a pedigree to understand that that's getting a little wobbly, and it's not sustainable. So something radical has to happen. something really unpopular is going to have.
Right, and it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, the music business plays this Jedi mind trick on you. If you get success and you have leverage, they'll get out of your way because you're making them a lot of money. But the minute you're not making them as much money, then they step in and they start playing these Jedi mind tricks on you. The whole thing's set up to take advantage of your weakness. Our first contract was 7 albums, essentially 14 years. At 23 years old, I'm signing a contract that's supposed to take me into 37. If you actually survive the cut, let's call it phase 1. You're successful, you're a name, and now you're in a place to either renegotiate or your deal is up or whatever. I once had a conversation with a very powerful music executive, and I said, give me the insider psychology here. What do you tell people like me when they get here? And he says, oh, it's just, there's always a price. So they know that even if you get through the matrix of the whole thing and get out the other side, that there's just a dollar amount that will buy you back in. They don't want true independence. Then the deals that the record labels cut with the streaming services, they got into ownership equity deals with the streaming services. In an arrangement for them to have an equity position, they agreed to very low rates for the artist's music. So the labels pimped out their own artist to take a greater equity position in a rising business.
The movie Sinners teaches you that welcome mats are demonic. Here's how. Just like in the movie, in this scene where they needed his consent in order to enter their home, right? This is the basic laws of the ancient times, right? Where you need that consent in order to be violated. Therefore, the person who is violating you goes scotch-free. And so these welcome mats, which are in English is a demonic language, right? You're welcoming more than what you can see with your eyes. So don't look at the vampire as a physical being. Look at it in the spirit, like a parasite that latches on to people and that they need other people to follow, right? And so if they're these spirits that you can't see, like I said, like a parasite, right? Latching on to the air, to the spirit, to life. When you put that welcome, you've already, in a demonic language, told demons who can read in that language that they're welcome to walk to your threshold. And so then you wonder why the sage ain't working, and you wonder why the scriptures ain't working, just like in the movie where he was reading the scriptures and they were saying it just right back to him, because you've already gave me the consent. So what happens afterwards doesn't matter, because initially I walked through the door. Understand that we are also in an evil spiritual world that manifests, right? That evil that knocked at his door, it manifested into a physical man, something that their dimension was able to understand with their eyes, right? But look at it in the spirit, where that knock on your door, you open it, no one's there. That welcome mat telling them to come in, they're already inside. So now the evil that's plaguing your home, plaguing you and your health, your spirit, your kids, this is why. And this also lets you know not to invite everyone in your home, not to invite everyone in your space. The moment that you do that, that is also initiation for them to plague you in the shadows, because you don't know where everyone's origins come from. A lot of these people's origins is unclean, and that's in the Bible. So you have to be separate. Had they would have been separate from that life, evil would have never even had the audacity to knock at their door. Then you have to also understand gifts as well, because you can't receive a gift from just anybody. Because the moment that you receive that gift, initially, whatever's behind it is going to hit you. So if you accept it, just like a welcome mat, if you accept that initial entry of me getting inside, then you also accept the demons that come with it if the gift is unpure.
Crayola crayons is one of them. Play-Doh is one of them. Hoppy's number 9 is one of them. Hoppy's gun oil. Hoppy's gun
Oh,
oil. Hoppy's number 9 gun oil is a
Really?
patented scent. They use banana oil. It smells like bananas. And but yeah, it's one of like 20 products, only 20 products in the country that have a patented scent.
Someone explain me this. Look at him, bro.
Who wants to watch this?
Here.
Fucking weird. That's weird, yo.
Okay, this is another angle of video. Just look at his tongue. It's so demonic.
Not even
First
hiding
of all,
it no
I'm
more,
not
y'all.
claiming any negative
Just
energy
out there
from
with
this
it.
video, and I just have one thing. Like, who are these people who go to these type of concerts? These are so demonic, so fearful. I don't know why people bought tickets for these concerts and they thinks that it's entertaining. No, bro. Tell me what's your thoughts in the comments.
This ain't the days no more when you can show up to a job and move up the ladder. Because companies now have figured out that it's not financially sound to give you a pension. So they let you work right before you earn a pension and get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to come in with a title so that you get paid for what you execute strictly, and that's that. And therefore you have leverage and you can maneuver however you want.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's not about staying with one company 10 years. You stay with one company 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, because you got to wager almost like record deals or NFL contracts. Every couple of seasons, though, you got to renegotiate with somebody. You don't give me what I want, I'm gone. And your resume speaks for itself. You know that.
Yeah.
The more you do,
100%,
the more you do, the more.
Want to know something sad? Nobody gets together anymore. Nobody gets together anymore. I remember growing up, you used to have family parties, birthday parties, holidays, whatever the case is. And you used to have all kinds of family there, not just your immediate family like your mom, your siblings. You would have uncles, aunts, grandparents, hell, sometimes even friends if they were really close. And now, these days, holidays, birthday parties, it's like you can't get anybody to come out anymore. And I think it really happened after COVID where nobody wants to get together anymore. And I understand everybody has their own lives going on, but that's always been the case. You know what I mean? People have always had their own lives, their own families. But I feel like ever since COVID, nobody wants to get together anymore. And it's like a big struggle just to get maybe a third, not even a third of your family to come out to an event, especially like Christmas. You know? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Let me know.
Shh, Mama Bear's got a damn quinceañera every damn weekend out here. I ain't going. I was just out there with them last weekend. I'm chilling at home this weekend. But anyways, y'all, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you made it this far, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Yesterday's video didn't get to come out, y'all. I was so upset. My breaker kept, my circuit kept tripping in here, and when it's windy, it's like that. So today I had to get it done early before the wind starts because it's going to be starting here soon. So I think now we're going to take the baby on a little walk before it gets ugly outside. Go check the mail. I think that's the plan today, y'all. So I hope everyone out there has a good day. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the man cave. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow on the next one. Thanks for all the love you guys have been showing. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Later.